Greetings to you all. How are you? Today is Sunday, May the 16th, 2021. If you have any questions, now is the time to let me know. Please let me know if you can hear me all right. I'll be here for 1 hour to answer your questions. So please go ahead and send them in right now. From Elsie, Sumanto, Satu, Michael Saw, Satu, Tantari, Satu, Satu, Prim NY, Namasagan, Satu, Vico Campbell, Mandami, Mante, Irene Chan, Oranut, Namasagan, Prajan, Pannaporn, Satu, Satu, Prim NY, sound and video super clear. Thank you. Subo, Satu, Satu. Chai Hang, Satu, Satu, Satu. So if you have any question, go ahead and send them in. I will be here for 1 hour to answer your questions. Jesadagon, Satu, Kapajan. So far we have about 22 people watching right now. From Sandy Ong, Satu Bante. From Nayaga, Putri, Satu, Satu, Satu. Looks like there's no one asking any question yet. Or maybe typing one right now. From Tamaras, Satu, Satu. Question from Mark Kim Singh, Malaysia. Mark Kim Singh, Malaysia. Oneself can claim that he or she has attained threshold of first or second jhana. Thus perception is it that simple? Some monks claim so. Analogy of blind man and elephant. Well, when you practice, when you sit and meditate and you are ever mindful with your meditation object, your mind will become calmer as it progresses. This is something that you can experience here and now. Sanditiko, not Dhamma is Sanditiko. It's not blind man and elephant. It's real. It's seeing man, seeing an elephant. But it's only him who knows this. And when he tells it to somebody else, then it's like telling other blind men about the elephant. So just keep practicing mindfulness. Train yourself in mindfulness all the time. Then when you meditate, your mind will transform, becoming calmer and calmer and happier. From Irene Uy, good afternoon Ajahn, greetings from Penang, Malaysia. Sadhu. From Tamaras, Sadhu. From Prangsa, Namaskaran Prajan. By the way, if you can let me know where you come from, I will appreciate it, especially those whose visit here is the first time, so we can know where you are, where you come from. From Sang World Class, Sadhu, Sadhu. Question number 2 from Mac Kim Singh, Malaysia. Jhanas are something very abstract. From the sutta, the description of jhana is open to debating issues. For some jhanas are merely experiences of calm and concentrated mind with its qualities adhering to metta, karuna, mudita and upekkha. Briefly, a tranquil and tame mind with its various interpretations. Could Ajahn elaborate in simple terms based on our daily meditative experiences? I think the best way to understand it is to meditate yourself. Don't try to imagine from what you read. This is like a blind man imagining an elephant. It's better just to open up your eyes and see the elephant for yourself. So try not to imagine from what you read. Try to do the meditation itself. Try to be mindful all the time and focus on your meditation object when you meditate. Then the result will appear gradually or suddenly sometime for some people. This is the only way to prove what you read to yourself. Don't try to imagine. Imagining it is like a blind man feeling an elephant. From Felicia Chan, Sadhu, Sadhu. From Leon Yu Meng, good afternoon, Prajan Suchart. Greetings and best wishes from Shah Alam, Selangor, Malaysia, Metta. Thank you. From Kelly Lu, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu from Penang. Gek Yen So, dear Thanajan, good afternoon. Regards from Penang. Greetings to you, Gek. I hope you are well and practicing your meditation and your wisdom. From Hing Chai Heng, Pante, I try chanting Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto when I have difficulty falling asleep, but it does not seem to work. What is the correct way? Of doing it? I am from Malaysia, Pante. It doesn't seem to work, maybe because you want to go to sleep. So when you chant Bhutto, Bhutto, just forget about wanting to go to sleep. Just concentrate on just chanting the Bhutto and tell yourself it doesn't matter when you will go to sleep or not. You have to let go of your desire to go to sleep, because this desire will interfere with your chanting Bhutto, Bhutto, and also will keep you awake. So forget about your desire to go to sleep. Just keep on chanting Bhutto, Bhutto. Then eventually you will fall asleep. Maybe you haven't chanted long enough yet. You have to keep on chanting until fall asleep. If you're still awake, then you still have to keep on chanting. From Alfredo Vilela, hi Bante. Hello to you, Alfredo. I hope you are well. From Brazil. Question number 3 from Mac Kim Singh, Malaysia. A concentrated mind is akin to a student who is able to follow the contents in studying. Teacher usually say, please concentrate well and you can follow the lesson easily. Imagine following a lesson with a muddled and clouded mind. It is not adhering to concentration. I'm not sure what your question is. You just have to concentrate on your meditation object. If you watch your breath, just keep watching your breath and don't let your mind go think about other things. From Geg Yen So, dear Tanajan, thank you, I am well. Is coronavirus belong to sentient beings? May I know coronavirus got any 5 khandhas? No, they don't have consciousness. So they only have just the Rupa Khandha. Very, very small, very tiny. They are not considered to have the 5 khandhas. They don't have awareness. They don't have feelings, perception of thoughts. From YQ Campbell, Pante, when we stop our thoughts during meditation, that time I experience non-self, like there is no me for the moment. As thought arises again, there is realization of self. Is it anime? Is it anatta? Non-self? Please guide. Yes, the true nature of the mind is merely knowing, but it also can think. And when you think of a self, it's just creating the concept of a self, not the self itself. There is no self. As soon as it stops thinking, then the concept of self will disappear from the mind. And that all that is left is just mere knowing. The mind is merely a knower and a thinker, but not a self knowing or thinking. From Helen Lim, good afternoon, Ajahn. From Xiao Shan, Ajahn, greeting from Kuala Lumpur. Recently, when sitting meditation, my body position bothers me. It tends to tilt in front when my concentration is fine. It will create some pain. I need to adjust back slowly, and with this, I can go into deep concentration. Is my body tilt in front due to lack of mindfulness? Yes, you might have lost some mindfulness, but not all. But don't worry. When you start meditating, before you meditate, when you sit, just try to set your body position correctly. Sit straight and relax. Once you have set your body properly, when you meditate, you should disregard the body position. Whether it seems to be tilting back or forth, leave it alone. Just keep concentrating on your meditation object. The body might tilt a bit forward or backward, to the left or to the right. Don't bother. Don't pay any attention to the body. Pay attention to your meditation object. Then your meditation can proceed and succeed eventually. Forget about your body position. When you meditate. From Christine Zhu, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. From Sapriu Chai, Namaskaran to Ajahn. From Sally Shi, Bhante, I feel very lazy and sleeping when meditation recently. How to overcome? I am from Malaysia. If you feel lazy, why don't you get up and do walking meditation if you can? Or do some chanting. Sit down, sit and start doing some chanting first to bring yourself more mindfulness and more energy. After you have overcome your sleepiness or your laziness, then you can then continue on watching your meditation object. From Spring KL, hi Ajahn, thank you for this session. I met you once in your temple and I was so inspired by you. The entire temple felt so at peace and my heart felt at peace there. Thank you for meeting me. I have a question for you. Can you judge how good someone is by their looks? For example, some people look tormented, twisted, and not very bright, while some look very upright, bright, and clear. Things like posture, relaxedness of facial muscles, calmness, gentleness. Is this a sign of how near or far they are from enlightenment? Similarly, can I look into the mirror and tell the same? I hope you may share your wisdom with me here. Looks can be deceiving, so don't try to determine a person's look, whether he is enlightened or not enlightened, whether he is good or bad. You have to judge them by their action, by what they say and by what they do. This is the way to judge people, not by their appearance, because the appearance can be deceiving. And even when you look at their action and their posture and their speech, you might have to wait to see it for a while. It might take some time before you can judge a person. Another way to find out if a person is enlightened or not is you first have to be enlightened yourself. And then when you talk Dhamma with the person, you can tell whether that person is enlightened or not. So forget about the appearance. The appearance is not the sole determination of a person's character. It might portray some of his character or her character, but not all. You have to be near, be close to that person and keep watching his behavior, his or her behavior, his or her speeches. Then you will be able to tell more or less what type of person this person is. From Wat Maxley, Ajahn greeting from Penang. Can Ajahn kindly expound how Vitakka and Vichara works in how the mind works? Vitakka and Vichara is in Thai we call Vitok, Vichan. Vitok means to be aware of something is Vitok. Vichan is to think about that something that you happen to think, to know. Like when you watch your breath, this is Vitok. And Vichara is you knowing the breath coming in and going out. So this is Vitakka and Vichara. Vitakka is to know your breath. Vichara is to know whether your breath goes in or comes out. So I think vitaka is sanya and vichara is sankhara. When you perceive of something like a person, this is vitaka. When you remember somebody, this is vitaka. Then when you think about this person, this is vichara. So when you meditate, you first have to have vitaka and vichara. Like when you recite the mantra Bhutto Bhutto, by knowing the Bhutto, this is vitaka. By knowing that you are reciting the Bhutto continuously, this is vichara. Something like this. Don't worry about it too much. Worry about your concentration and focus on your meditation object and not allowing your mind to go think about other things. This is what you should be mindful of when you meditate. When you recite Bhutto, just keep reciting Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto without letting your mind go think about other things. When you first think about other things, this is vitaka. When you continue thinking about that thing, this is vichara. From Tan Copeland, thank you, Ajahn. You're welcome. From Wei Sheng Chua, are you able to recall your past lives? What were you doing in your past lives? Are you able to see beings in other realms using psychic power? If you meditate and get to the Upachara level, Upachara Samadhi level, then you will have psychic power. You will be able to connect with other spiritual beings. You will be able to recollect your past life. But this doesn't happen to every meditator. Some meditator only get to Appana Samadhi, which is alright because Upachara Samadhi is not supportive of Vipassana. You need to get to Appana Samadhi and don't go further. Don't go into Upachara Samadhi. Upachara Samadhi give you psychic power, but Appana Samadhi give you Ubekha, which you need to fight against your defilement. To stop your defilement, you need Ubekha. So don't worry about this psychic power. They are useless as far as enlightenment is concerned. They cannot support your enlightenment, your practice of Vipassana. You want Appana Samadhi, which will give you Ubekha, equanimity to stop your defilement. When you tell yourself with wisdom that to do this thing is wrong, is dukkha, with equanimity, then you can stop your mind from doing it, from desiring things that can cause you dukkha. From I, Hikari, Sadhu, Sadhu. From Joyce Ui, Sadhu, Sadhu. From Aranut, dear Ajahn, greetings from San Jose, California. Could you please describe Nesachik in detail? Do you recommend it? I am thinking about giving it a try. Well, the practice of Nesachik is to remain in three postures only, standing, walking, and sitting, but not lying down. The reason why you want to practice this Nesachik is to prevent you from going to sleep. You want to use your time as much as possible for the practice of meditation. So this is something that each individual can try for himself or herself. Whether it works or not, you have to prove it for yourself. But the purpose is to make you have more time to practice. Because if you lie down, you can go to sleep for many hours. But if you don't lie down, then if you should fall asleep, you will sleep very briefly when in the sitting position, for instance. So this is something for each individual to decide whether they need to do this nesachik or not. From Ong apprentice, a mind with jhana can exercise more evil action because he has a stronger mind to exercise the evil act. And as a defiled person tend to go towards defilement way. What is the guide for a person with jhana to follow the path of Long Puman and not the Devadatta path from Singapore? See, with jhana, your mind is peaceful, calm, and without defilement. So a mind with jhana cannot go the way of the defilement. It's only the mind with upajjara samadhi that can go in the way of the defilement. See, Devadatta had this upajjara samadhi, so he has no ubekha to stop his defilement. But with people who has jhana, they have ubekha to stop their defilement, or to tame or to curb their defilement. Their mind tend not to go toward the defilement's path. That's why you need to go into jhana, fourth jhana, to get ubekha. Then your defilement will be weakened by the strength of your ubekha, your jhana. But if you go to upajjara samadhi, there is no ubekha there. And your mind, your defilement will not be weakened. So when your defilement start to act, you will not be able to stop your defilement. So don't worry about gaining upajjara samadhi, gaining psychic powers. Worry about getting jhana, getting ubekha, equanimity. Once your mind has jhana, it is calm, peaceful, and happy. All the cravings and desire will be temporarily disappear from the mind. And when you come out of jhana, the desire and craving will not be strong like before. So it will be easy for you to use wisdom to get rid of your defilement, your cravings and your desire. From Hurt Max Lee, so vitakka and vichara are thinking and thought, are perception and thought, yes. Perceiving is vitakka, and thinking is vichara. Hokim Teo, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. See, in jhana, you only think and focus on just one thing, like your breath or your mantra. That's why it keeps the mind concentrated and become calm. It prevents the mind from thinking about other things. But if you're not focused on one object, you can be perceiving and thinking about many things. And this will keep the mind active and not calm. From Hok Kiong Teo, sadhu, sadhu. From Wee Sheng Chua, how to practice vipassana meditation. Vipassana is to teach the mind the truth of the three characteristics of existence, like telling yourself that your body is not you. Your body is impermanent. It is gonna get old, get sick, and die. But there's no reason you should worry about your body because your body is not you. You don't get old, get sick, or die with your body. You are the knower, the thinker that doesn't die with the body. This is vipassana. Teach your mind the truth. Separate the mind from the body. Separate the mind from everything. Nothing in this world belongs to the mind. Sooner or later, the mind will have to leave everything behind. This is vipassana meditation. From Sapru Chai, Satu, Satu, Satu. From Gleb Aldrich, hello Ajahn. When we see something unpleasant or remember something unpleasant, does that cause a mood or a collection of quick thoughts that lead to an unpleasant mood? Yes, what you see, what you come into contact with can cause you to have good or bad emotion, depends on your interpretation of the objects that you come into contact with. If you interpret it to be pleasant, then you will have pleasant feeling. Or pleasant mood. If you interpret it to be unpleasant, then you will have unpleasant mood. Basically, our thoughts and moods different. Thank you. Thoughts are the forerunner of moods. You have to think first, then your moods or your emotion will then follow. If you think this is bad, then you have bad feelings or bad emotion. If you think this is good, then you have good emotion. If you stop thinking, then there is no emotion left in the mind. The mind then becomes blank. The mind becomes without emotion, which is peace and calm and happiness of mind. That's what we want to get there, to the state where we don't think about good or bad, just to be merely knowing things as they are. Then you would have no emotion reaction toward those objects that you come into contact with. This is our training in meditation and mindfulness, just to be merely knowing and not reacting, by not deciding whether things you see, you hear, you feel or touch is good or bad. Just merely seeing them as they are. They are just objects, sensual objects, that rises and ceases. And the mind only has to merely know. Then there will be no emotion in the mind, no mood in the mind, when it comes into contact with any sensual objects. From Sunny Lim, good afternoon, Ajahn Suchart. Good afternoon to you. From Eileen Chi, hi Ajahn. If I don't follow the morning chanting live, but instead I meditate, is it okay? Thanks. Yes, meditating is better than chanting. If you can meditate, then just forget about chanting. But if you cannot yet meditate, then you need chanting to calm your mind first, before you can concentrate on your meditation object. So if you can sit down and meditate without having to chant, then you don't need to chant. But if you cannot meditate, then you need to chant first, to focus your mind, to concentrate your mind. Once your mind has focus, has concentration, then you can then meditate. From Liang Yu Meng, Tanajan, what can one do to be more at ease and relaxed when one is practicing mindfulness? Because having too much concentration can be tiring. Thank you, Ajahn. It's only tiring because you don't have concentration. When you have to force your mind to concentrate, then it becomes tiring. So you have to just try to spread your concentration practice apart. Don't force it at one time, like when you sit. You should train your mind with mindfulness before you come to sit. From the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, you can train your mind yourself with mindfulness by either reciting a mantra or by watching what your body is doing at the moment. This is training yourself with mindfulness or concentration. So when you meditate, you'll find that it's not tiring to concentrate because you already have concentration. But if you don't have any concentration and when you try to meditate, you'll find it very tiring because you have to force your mind to concentrate. So try to do concentration before you meditate. Concentrate on what you do or concentrate on your mantra. Then when you meditate, you will have enough concentration to sit comfortably and relax. From Liang Yu Ming, how many levels of mindfulness are there? There is no exact, grade of mindfulness. It just develops slowly. It just develops from having no mindfulness to having full mindfulness. That's all. Mindfulness can come and go when you're first starting, but as you keep practicing, your mindfulness will be more continuous, will be more ever present, will not disappear from your mind. From Ui Po Hua, Suki Hotu. Thank you. From Chompu MTR, Satu. From Audi Aha, Satu. From Ong Apprentice, thank you, I understand. You're welcome. From Mahesh Patana, Pante kindly understand us how to practice 16 steps of Anapanasati meditation. You only need to know the first step, and then the other 15 steps will follow automatically, like an automatic transmission in your car. You only have to put your transmission in drive, then the car will do the rest. Then the car will automatically shift from one to the other. It's the same way with meditation on Anapanasati. You just keep focused on your breath at the tip of your nose. Don't follow your breath in or out. Just keep focused at the tip of your nose, and know when the when the air comes into the nose and when the air leaves the nose. Just fix on that point. Then all the 60 steps will follow. You don't have to do it manually. They will come automatically, as long as you keep focusing the breath on the tip of your nose and not thinking about anything. From Wei Cheng Chua, is lying or sleeping meditation a good meditation practice? If so, how to practice it? It's not recommended unless you are sick and you cannot get up and sit, because when you're lying down, it is easy to go to sleep. So if you want to succeed in meditation, you don't want to meditate lying down, because you will fall asleep. It's only when you are sick and you cannot get up, then if you still want to practice, then you have to practice by lying down. But this is not the preferred posture of meditation. The preferred one is sitting or walking or standing. From Wat Maxley, thank you Ajahn for explaining Vitakka and Vichara beautifully. Sadhu, sadhu, you're welcome. From Eileen Chi, thanks and sadhu, sadhu Ajahn, you're welcome. From Nielsen Saul Takoda, Ajahn, please accept my humble obeisances. Santi from Brazil, sadhu, sadhu, you're welcome. From Santi Lai, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. From Patsy Chung, my humble respect from Johor, Malaysia. Enjoy your talks and Dhamma's discussions. Ajahn, sadhu, sadhu, you're welcome. From Ama Ayugwe. Dear Ajahn, it is Ama from Australia. I heard Sariputta didn't have powers to see his rebirth and was the best in teaching people to Sotapanna level. Is it true? How so, Ajahn? Thanks respectfully. Sariputta is considered to be efficient in the path of wisdom more than on the path of psychic powers. So he didn't attain any psychic powers, but he had this ability to explain Dhamma clearly to people. So when they listen to his teaching, they can become enlightened very easily and quickly. How is it possible? This is the nature of the mind. See? The mind can have two directions to go, either the way of wisdom or the way of psychic powers. See, in contrast, the other disciple, the other chief disciple of the Buddha is Moggallana, and Moggallana has his psychic powers. So he is considered to be the left-hand man of the Buddha, while Sariputta is considered to be the right-hand man of the Buddha. The Buddha considered having wisdom power greater than having the psychic power. But with the Buddha, he was able to attain both paths, the path of psychic power and the path of wisdom. But if you only have the path of psychic power, you cannot become enlightened. You need to have the path to wisdom, the wisdom path to become enlightened. So don't worry about psychic powers if you don't get any. It's not important. What is important is the wisdom, the ability to see the Four Noble Truths and the three characteristics of existence. That's what you need to have to become enlightened. From Sapru Chai, Ajahn, does someone who has jhana don't like hanging out with friends, partying, or in crowded places? Yes, because they find it's useless to have friends, to have party, to congregate. They find it's better to live in seclusion alone, because that's where you find real peace and happiness within yourself. And when you hang around with people, you tend to be annoyed by their defilements. From Wat Maxley, Ajahn, after meditating, I find myself having insomnia. How to overcome this insomnia? Sadhu, sadhu. What is insomnia? Not being able to go to sleep. If you don't go to sleep, then you should just continue on meditating. Just keep meditating, and when your mind becomes calm, you will fall asleep automatically. From Nielsen Saul Takoda, Ajahn, is it possible for a person to develop mystical powers by meditating constantly? Thank you for your teachings. If you mean mystical powers is psychic power, then it is possible, but not with everybody. This is a special ability for some meditator, but not every meditator can develop psychic powers. But they can develop concentrating power or equanimity. Everyone can develop the fourth jhana, but not everyone could develop the upajjhara samadhi to get to psychic powers, which is not important anyway. So don't pay attention or don't worry about developing psychic powers, because psychic power doesn't get you to enlightenment, to liberation from dukkha. You need to have the fourth jhana or equanimity to get to enlightenment, to get to liberation from dukkha. From Ginny Lin, good afternoon Mahajan. I am Ginny Lin from Selangor, Malaysia. Sadhu, sadhu. I have one question. When at my last part of chanting by sending merit, I recited the verses Imam Punya Gawang Sapa Sat 3 times. Is it correct to send these verses to all friends and relatives whom had passed away, and also all beings above and below, devas and betas too? Please advise. No, you don't need to chant these verses in Pali. You can do it in your own language. You can just think in your mind that I would like to share this merit with my relatives and friends who passed away. You don't need to chant the Pali. If you can chant, it's okay, but if you don't know it, it's not important. You have to speak from the heart, using the language of the heart, which is your thoughts. Just think about the person that you want to share this merit with. From Sapruchai, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. From Xiao Cheng, Ajahn, my working recently faced some problem after 15 years working in this company. This is due to my karma with the company boss. No, it's anicca, it's impermanent. Everything can change, anything can change anytime. So just accept it as anicca, impermanent, changing. Things keep changing all the time. It's not about karma. Karma might have some influence, but the real thing is impermanent, anicca, and anatta, uncontrollable. Things are not always under your control. If you have wisdom, then you will not be hurt by this changing. You will accept it that it's part of existence. It's part of the 3 characteristics of existence. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. When you have anicca, dukkha will follow. You will feel sad because you cannot force it to be what you want it to be. It is anatta. From Wat Maxley, yes Ajahn, I keep meditating when I cannot sleep, but this can go on for 2 or 3 days. Your advice, please. Just keep on meditating when you cannot go to sleep, and then eventually, when the body becomes tired enough, it will go to sleep. But try to avoid having the desire to go to sleep, because this desire will prevent your body from going to sleep. Just meditate and just tell yourself, if I don't sleep, that's fine. If I fall asleep, that's fine also. Then eventually your body will fall asleep. From Wei Sheng Chua, is technique of standing meditation same as sitting? Yes. The position are different, but the technique of meditation is the same. You still focus on your meditation object, whether you're standing, sitting, walking, or lying down. From Wei Sheng Chua, we use hands to complete a lot of tasks in our daily lives. Is touching or grasping sensation a good meditation object? No. When you meditate, it's better just to have watching your breath. You don't want to use your hands to move things, to touch things. You want to keep the body still, because before you can still your mind, you first have to still your body. If your body is still moving, then it's not possible for your mind to be still. So you should still your body by sitting still, and then focus on your breathing, focus on your mantra, and this will eventually make your mind to become still, peaceful, and happy. From Hort Maxley, thank you Ajahn for your advice. You're welcome. Yeah, the problem is when you cannot go to sleep, you want to go to sleep. And the harder you want to go to sleep, then the harder it is for you to go to sleep. So don't have this desire to go to sleep when you cannot go to sleep. Just tell yourself this is anicca, things, or anatta, this is beyond your control. So all you can do is just to stay focused and stop thinking. When you stay focused and not thinking, then you will eventually fall asleep. Sorry, it is mindfulness practice. It's the same thing, mindfulness and meditation. When you meditate, you are practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of the mantra. From Ong Apprentice is the technique to eliminate all kinds of tanha. The same or is it different from one tanha to another? To overcome karma tanhas is by way of restriction. No, you need to see the three characteristics. You have to see that your desire or your craving will lead you to dukkha, to suffering. Because the objects of your desire or cravings are impermanent. See? They are changing. When you get it, you might be happy, but when they change and they disappear, then it turns into dukkha. So you have to see that the object of your cravings, your desire are anicca, dukkha, anatta. Then you will then stop your desire because you don't want to get into dukkha. Restriction is only a helper before when you first start meditating. When you don't have wisdom, then you use restriction to restrict your cravings, your desire, but they don't disappear permanently from restriction. You need to have wisdom to see that to have tanha, to have cravings, to do what your craving asks you to do will lead you to dukkha, to sadness, to disappointment, to suffering. From Howard Maxley, haha, Ajahn, you are very right, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. From Grave Aldrich, dear Ajahn, do chittas have different main characteristics, like shy chitta, confident chitta? Yes, this is the nature of the the chitta of different people. It depends on how they develop them until they become habit or become character of the chitta itself. Some people have this shyness characteristics. Some people have this confidence characteristics. These are due to their actions. Every time you do something, you are creating a type of character or a type of habit. And if you do more and more, then it becomes more profound and more obvious. From Liang Yu Ming, Ajahn, most of the time I automatically wake up at 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. Is this a sign of awakening or otherwise? Thank you, Ajahn. It's just a sign of habit. You have a habit. You have if you used to get up at this time and you keep getting up, it means then you have this habit. It doesn't mean that you are awakening or anything like that. Awakening is to see the Four Noble Truths all the time, or to see the three characteristics of existence all the time. From Lim Sui Kun, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Okay, we have been discussing Dhamma for about 55 minutes now. And we have about 5 more minutes to go before I will have to stop this meeting. If you are typing any question, you can continue on typing and sending me. If you are not typing now, I think maybe it's time for you not to do so, because I will not have the time to answer your question. You have to wait for the next time. From Phoebe Sang, Dear Venerable Ajahn, my question is the practice of positive thinking any better than the tendency to depressive or negative thoughts? It depends on how you define positive thinking. According to Buddhism, to think positively is to think realistically, even though it might be unwelcome, unpleasant. You have to think realistically, like thinking of anicca, dukkha, anatta. This is it, from Buddhism standpoint. This is positive thinking, because it will teach the mind to learn to accept the truth, not to deny the truth. And when the truth happens, then the mind will not be disturbed by the truth. But if the mind keep rejecting the real thing, the reality, when reality comes face to face with the mind will be badly disturbed. So we want to train our mind to think realistically, to think that everything in this world is impermanent. Everything will rise and cease one day. Everything comes and goes, for instance, and nothing is under our control. If we can think like this, then our mind will be ready to to face to face reality, the undesirable reality like aging, sickness, and death, and it will not be disturbed. But if right now you cannot think realistically, it means your mind is heavily under the influence of your defilements. So you need to lighten this influence by meditating, calm your mind, and get into jhana. Because when you do this, the influence of your defilement will diminish. And then when you come out of jhana, when you think realistically, you will not be disturbed by the reality of things, like aging, sickness, and death. So this is how we are taught to think in Buddhism, to think realistically, think that everything is anicca, dukkha, anatta. If we cannot yet think like this because we are heavily under the influence of the defilement, then we have to meditate first to calm our mind, to get into jhana. Then when we do this, the influence of the defilement will diminish, and then it will allow us to be able to think realistically. And every time we think realistically, we'll feel good. We'll feel, yes, everything has to come to an end. Then we prepare ourselves to let go and not to cling to anything. I hope I answered your question. Positive or negative thinking it depends on how you define them. But according to Buddhism, positive thinking is to think realistically. From Alfredo Villela, thanks. You're welcome. Ong Apprentice, noted, and thank you very much. Wei Cheng Chua, is that true Buddhists are not allowed to lie their backs while sitting on chair? Are we only allowed to sit on stool? Well, when you have something to back, you tend to become too comfortable and not mindful, and then you can easily fall asleep. So we try to sit without anything to back the back with, just like sitting on the floor or on the stool, for instance. Then you become more alert, more awake. But when you sit with something to back your back with, then you can fall asleep easily. From Gleb Alwich, thank you very much for your answer. You're welcome. From Biko Lim, Satu, Satu. From Howard Max Lee, thank you Ajahn for your compassionate teaching. May you be well, peaceful, and happy. Satu, Satu, Satu. From Jack Ling Tan, thank you so much, San Ajahn, for such beautiful Dhamma teaching. I thought you would never show up. From Phoebe Sam, yes, you have answered my question. Thank you very much. Satu, Satu. From Albert Paul, Namo Amitufo. from Kim Ensure. Sadhu, sadhu. Well, that's about it for today. All the questions have been answered and all the comments have been read. So I think it's time for me to say goodbye to you, and I'll see you again next time. In the meantime, be happy, be mindful, and keep on meditating. Keep training yourself in mindfulness all the time, and you will not be disappointed. One day, the result will appear, and it will be worth your effort. Thank you for now. See you later.